Hello, hello, hello on Facebook and YouTube. Happy Friday. What is my thing doing? Sorry. Happy um Friday. Happy Friday. It's Topic Hop Friday for us here at the Dr. Dare Show. We have three topics tonight. How many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship or marriage? Number two, what negative things or behaviors do you think we learn from social media? And number three, do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? Those are our three topics that we are covering tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. When you come in, make sure you click share. We welcome everyone to give us your opinion. We're not trying to change that opinion. So, welcome YouTube, welcome Facebook, and we will get started momentarily. But when you come in, click share. Let me know how your day has been, and we will get started. The week for me went by kind of slow. It felt like it. Um, I think, like one of my Zumba students said tonight, that every day seemed like it was Monday. So just busy, 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 seeing clients, teaching class, all of those things. So hopefully you had a great week. Hopefully everybody's staying safe or trying to stay safe. It is Friday. We made it. So happy for that. So happy for that. So when you come in, click share. So we do have three good topics tonight. They're good, 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 good. So, welcome, 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 everybody. Yes, 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 yes. So, when you come in, click share, and we will get started momentarily. Make sure everybody can hear me out there, so I always have to check my phone to show. Oh. Welcome, 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 everybody. Sorry, I hope I'm not ignoring. I was just making sure that uh, I was being heard. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all making comments? Sometimes this thing acts weird, so just have to make sure. But welcome, welcome, welcome. We have three topics tonight. Number one, how many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship or the marriage? Number two, what negative things or behaviors do you think we learn from social media? And number three, do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? I'm not seeing comments, so hopefully can't post messages sometime. Okay. I know you can hear me. I think, yeah, you can because I see the lines going back and forth. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, let me click share. Let me share this while I'm online. Yeah, let me get that shared. Hey, Gregory, I see you watching out there. Now you can hear me. I think, yeah, you can because I see the lines going back and forth. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me click share. Let me share this while I'm online. Oh, let me share to that shared. There you go. Hey, Gregory, post. I see you watching out there. Guess I have to watch this phone to make sure that. Yes, yes, yes. We have three topics tonight. Let me turn that down. We have three topics tonight. How many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship or marriage? Number two, what negative things or behaviors do we learn from social media? And number three, do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Yes, yes, yes. Let me write a test in here. Testing. Yes, it's working. Anyway, welcome, 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 y'all. When you come in, say hi, click share, 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 share. I am sharing to different places. Let's see where we want to share. Uh, share, share. Share. Hello, 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 hello. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, 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 y'all. Somebody send me a message to let me know that my messages are being seen. Um, hope everybody had a blessed week. I know it's chaotic in the world with this Delta variant still out there. Um, yeah. We will be starting momentarily. I just need to make sure that I am seeing messages. Hmm. Welcome, 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 y'all. When you come in, click share. And then let me know how your week has been. Let me know how your week has been. We have three good topics today. How many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship or marriage? What negative things or behaviors do we learn from social media? And number three, do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? That's what we're talking about today. Yes. It is Friday night. Oh my gosh. What to do? And I've started this 21-day diet thing. Well, it's not a diet, but cutting out a lot of carbs. So today is day two. So that's been fun. Not. Anyway, yes, yes, yes. So welcome. There you go, Karen. Thank you. Good evening, Karen. My week was good. It went by fast. Good. I could see y'all comments. I was starting to worry that the comments weren't coming up. Hey, Tanisha. How are you? How are you? How was your week? Oops. Uh, oh, okay. Karen, how was your week? Tanisha, how was your week? How did your week end? Um, me too. I'm glad it's over too. It felt like it dragged out this week. Last week went by fast, but this week was just like, it's Friday, the Friday, time for the weekend shenanigans. What you getting into, Tanisha? Mm, 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 mm. Karen says this week went by really fast. My week was decent. That's good, Karen. Fast is always good. Getting it over with. Getting it over with. At least next week you'll be out of town, Karen, right? Karen said red cup. It's just cranberry juice. Yeah, the red cup. What does the red cup mean to you guys out there? It makes me think of either you got alcohol in your cup, you're at a family cookout, or you're at a party that the person a kind of cheap ghetto party. Let me not say that. Oh, cool, Tanisha. I'm going to see Tony Baker, the comedian, tomorrow night. That's exciting. That's exciting. That is good. I can see it right here. Red cup means chilling. Tanisha said red cup means party time. Yep. Isn't that crazy how everybody has their own meaning to this thing right here? But yeah, I just got cranberry juice in there. Yeah. So we got three good topics tonight, and we're gonna start. I don't want to keep y'all too late. It's 8:40. So our first topic is how many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship or marriage? Cranberry juice wasted. Yes. So how many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship? That's our first question tonight. Oh, I can see it. I can see. Add it up. Oh, so that's a little behind. Yeah. So how many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship? I have my theory, um, but I want to hear what you guys think. Is it the end of the relationship when someone cheats? Is it the end of the marriage when someone cheats? Or should you give people uh, a lot of time? Tanisha says only one time. You give them one time, Tanisha, so you'll let them try. Is that what you're saying? You'll not try. You'll let them cheat one time, and then you'll give them a chance after that, right? And then Karen says, one cheat equals my exit stage right, I think, or left. What does that say? It's stage right. So Karen says, once you cheat, you're out. Tanisha says she's gonna give you one time. I say I give you one time, because everybody makes mistakes. Oh, Tanisha says one and done. So if they cheat, Tanisha, they're just gone. They're done. But everybody makes mistakes. What if it was just your partner got drunk at somebody's house and it turned into something that wasn't planned? No excuses. It's over? Tanisha says yes, sir. One and done. I say give the person one time. And then you have to see, well, did you play a part in them cheating? Tanisha said they should have control of themselves. Okay, I see it. One and done for Karen and two. So Tanisha and Karen both say one and done. If their partner cheated in the relationship or the marriage, they are out. And I say I would at least let them cheat once. Then we would work on the relationship. Then if it happens again, we're done. That's my thing. Because I truly think people make mistakes. Now, if it's a habitual cheating thing, then I feel like that person has a problem, some sex addiction, or they had some kind of sexual trauma in their childhood or in their life that that creates them to have the need to cheat around. Because what people don't understand, I'll give you a little bit of knowledge. Usually, people that have sex trauma, they usually either they go one extreme or the other. They won't have sex and don't want anybody to touch them, or they go to the opposite end and they're just having sex all over the place. And I always recommend to my clients this book. It's in the other room. I have to go pull it out. But it talks about sexual trauma and how it can appear in people's lives and they don't even realize it. So that's why I would give them one chance, but I would need to know the reason why that person cheated. That that would be my rationale on that. But I get it. Some people, you know. You get hurt and you don't want to give the other people a chance. Hey, Judy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see Judy. I have to have my phone on now because then I can see people coming in versus the laptop. It's like, but yeah. So our question that we're on right now is how many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship or the marriage? Karen and Tanisha are like one and done, meaning if that person cheated on them, they are out the door. I said it depends on the circumstances because a lot of people that experience sexual trauma will make mistakes, will cheat, will because they don't understand why they're cheating. So in that case, I'll give you a one chance, and then we work on building that relationship back up. Especially if it's a marriage, because you've went through all the nuptials and all of that stuff. And so you probably want to try to work it out, especially if you have kids. But it's up to, like I said, I always say I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion. Tanisha says I definitely have to have a discussion with them before I make my final decision regarding the relationship. Okay, Tanisha, I like that. So you're at least you would at least have communication with them to see what the problem was. But what if it's I ain't gonna say that. But what if you have part to do with them cheating and somebody's gonna say they are grown and they have their own mind. But Tanisha and Karen both said if the person cheated in the relationship or the marriage, they get one and they're done. But then Tanisha came back and said that she definitely would have to have a discussion with them before she made the final decision regarding ending the relationship. I said I would give them a chance, and I don't know if that's the therapist in me because I want to find out why. What is the root cause of that person cheating? Are you just cheating because you can't keep your stuff in your pants, or or you had whatever it is. And so Judy said it depends on the circumstances on why they cheated. Okay, so Judy on the same page with me. Uh but Karen and Tanisha are like one time if you cheat, you are out. And so, if you're just joining, we're on that first question of how many times would you allow someone to cheat before you left the relationship or marriage? We have two people that are saying, me included, are saying that we would have to know what the reason is, um, kind of know the background of that. And like I was giving my little therapist talk, because a lot of people that have had sexual trauma, they either go from one extreme to the other. They either cheat a lot or they don't have sex at all with anybody. And so you want to rule that out before you make that final decision. So that's just a little tidbit of therapy knowledge that I can give you. And there's a good book on sexual trauma. If anybody has been through sexual trauma, there is a good book that I have. I'm gonna go pull it real quick. Karina, hey Nisi. Karina says you get one chance with me, and that's it. You're out, Karina. So you're like Karen and Tanisha. They said one shot and you're out. I give a person a chance, though. I give them one chance. I'm gonna go get that book. Talk amongst yourselves. So this is a good book. It's called Sexual Healing Journey by Wendy Maltz. I'll leave that up there for you really quickly. But it's a guide for survivors of sexual abuse. I use this with a lot of my clients. It pretty much tells you how people that have had sexual abuse kind of can go from one extreme to the other. And it's a really good book. I read it a lot with my clients because it has a lot of good stuff in here. But if you get a chance, I got it off of Amazon. It's dirt cheap. If you know anybody that's had sexual abuse, or you feel like you're in a relationship and somebody is just constantly a habitual cheater, you want to know why, you want to get them help. I just thought I'd share that. So, yes. So a lot of y'all agree you get the one time and you're out. no excuses. You're done. Um, but you never know when you're in that predicament because a lot of things have to come into play too. You love the person, you may have a family, you may, so you do have to. I think it's a bigger issue if you're married. Like if you're just in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, it's probably easier to walk away. Which when you're in a marriage, that's a big, you know, different story. But check that book out if you're interested in that. It's a really good book. I'll type the name up on the thing. Sexual healing. I see your question. So the book, I put the name of the book and then the author there. It's the Sexual Healing Journey, Wendy Waltz. Karina says to Tanisha, "How can it be your fault?" Replying to Tanisha, and let's see, if it's my fault for them cheating, then we can compromise. So that is a good question, Tanisha. Uh, uh, Karina asked you, "Why? How would it be your fault?" I can see where I'll give one scenario where it could be a person's fault. Say if you're withholding sex, or you're so caught up in doing business stuff that you're not taking care of the needs of your partner. Or it's so many scenarios that are out there that doesn't give them an excuse to cheat. Not saying that, but you're giving them more of an opportunity in their brains to say it's okay to do whatever. So in that instance, I think you should sit and kind of talk about it to each other, before you just disappear. If that is the case, if you got busy, caught up doing business, you were so focused on something else, you were withholding sex for some reason. Maybe you've had sexual trauma or something, and sex is no longer a pleasure thing for you. It's almost just a procedure, and it's not fun and it's not exciting, and you don't get anything out of it. So that's the way, Karina. I don't believe someone chooses to cheat is on them. It has nothing to do with you. True. And that's why I say I feel like you should have a conversation because you want to understand why. You don't want to just walk away being pissed off and being angry and not understand like why this happened, because what most people do if they get cheated on, they blame themselves. They and even though it's the other person's fault, they did it. Somewhere along the way, that other person is going to feel sorry for themselves. They're going to think they're not pretty enough. They're going to think their weight, or they have a body image or something like that. And so that's why it is always good to have a conversation if this happens to someone. So Judy says it could be something that's lacking in the relationship that should be addressed. Yep, Judy, and that's kind of what I was just saying is like you want to understand that before you just pack your bags and say I'm out. You want to understand why. Not saying that that they have an excuse, but you want to understand why. And you want to make sure that you're not walking away feeling bad about yourself because you think it's something you did. A lot of people have issues. Like we think people just cheat, but there is, if y'all ever want me to go over this book or just read through some of this book on a show, it is really good, and I put the author and all of that stuff. But it explains a lot of things where you think people that sleep around a lot, probably most likely they have sexual trauma in their past, in their childhood, or somebody who you marry somebody and then all of a sudden they don't want to have sex anymore and all they want is the relationship. They've probably had some kind of sexual trauma or something like that. So you do want to discuss that type of stuff. Um, hey, other Nisi, Tierra, I'd rather just leave than cheat. You rather them just leave than cheat. I get it. Same. It's like Fantasia song says, "If you don't want me, then don't talk to me, or just go away." But Some people want you and want to hold on to you and still go do their own thing. And so you have to be careful of that. But I still think you should have a conversation, because if you walk away angry, you're going to take that into your own personal um thinking that it's something wrong with you, and it's not. I used to know somebody who used to say, "Oh, it's that person's fault that they got cheated on." What? Why would you think it's the person? This person always thought somebody had that other person didn't do something to, and that's why the other person cheated. And I am by no ways saying that at all. Karen says, I would hope we would have knowledge about my partner's sexual history trauma early in the relationship to have an understanding. I cannot see myself staying with a man who cheats. And Karen, we would hope that, but we, we don't know how to communicate. So we'll get in a relationship and you've had sexual trauma. You don't want to talk about it. You've been hiding it for years. It's been internally, you hide it in your subconscious and you don't want to talk about it. And of course, you're not going to tell your partner, because most people fear that the partner will run away. If you start saying, "Oh, I had sexual trauma when I was 8 years old or 10 years old," they think their partner is going to run away and abandon them or whatever. Um, yeah, so that's the reason, Karen, why a lot of people who had that sexual trauma may not discuss it with their partner. But we got to work on that communication piece in all relationships. I tell y'all all the time, the big three things that are issues in a relationship are communication, boundaries being crossed, and trust issues. Those are the big three things that I see when I do couples therapy, that I see in every, it never fails in every relationship. It's usually they don't trust each other, they can't communicate, they don't know how to communicate, or they're crossing each other's boundaries and setting each other off. Tanisha says, and they always come back too. Yeah, they do. They try to come back because then they realize, oh, I made a mistake, and you know, please take me back. I think, Tanisha, did you reply to? I want to make sure I'm not missing any. Okay, it could be something replying to Karina. Okay, so Tanisha was replying to Karina, if my focus may steer away from them. Yep, Tanisha, so you kind of saying that scenario I gave is like, say for instance, you're in a relationship, you got a new job, you got a new position, you're climbing the ladder, your partner is at home, they're not really doing anything. And then they're not really getting sex from you. You're on business trips, you're gone 5 or 6 times out of the week, they're trying to have a conversation with you, you're not saying anything. That could lead, not an excuse for them, but just how it could happen. I just want to clarify, I'm not making excuses for people people cheating. Not, I'm not. I want you to learn to have the conversation if it happens and not take it personal. That's one thing I want you to take away from it. Okay. And Tanisha says, I definitely need to understand the why of anything. And that's good. That's good. You need to talk it out. Tiara says, I'd rather just leave than them cheat on me. Oh, I read that one. And then Karina says, I always say, if you want to cheat, just go ahead and leave me. And I feel that same way too. But I do want to have a conversation because, again, I'm going to reiterate this, is that if you just let them leave and you didn't talk about it, I guarantee you're going to feel bad about yourself. You're gonna think, you're gonna start having body image issues or looking in the mirror. What did I do? Or something I did? I'm not pretty enough. I'm not. You're gonna have that conversation because you want to get that off of you. Um, Karen says, "Excuse me. I would hope I read that one. Okay, I read that one for Karen. I had went back a little because I skipped. I would hope I would have had knowledge about my partner's sexual history trauma early in the relationship to have an understanding. I cannot see myself staying with the man who cheats." Okay, good point. And Tanisha said, and they always come back. I read that, and I rather them. My bad. I got you, Tierra. Um, Judy says, if he is a serial cheater, then he needs to go. It becomes disrespect if it keeps happening over and over again. And I agree. And that's when, but a lot of people stay in those situations, and it is bigger than you. It is not about you, it's about this. Like you said, Judy, that serial cheater, that habitual cheater, I guarantee you about 90% of that person probably has some kind of sexual abuse, kind of sexual trauma, or some kind of low self esteem issues, or a sex addiction, what we call in therapy a process addiction. Process addictions are things people just keep doing over and over again for some kind of pleasure, and they're not. Gambling is a process addiction. Um, Pornography is a process addiction. Sex is a process addiction. That's what we call those in therapy. And Karen says, great points. Communication and the lack thereof are a huge part of the relationship. Yep, you're right. And Karina says, I feel like that's a lack of self control. And you are exactly right. That's especially if they just can't keep their eyes to themselves, and every time they see someone, um, they're turned on and they can't be faithful to their wife or their husband. Then yeah, that scenario without any trauma background or something like that, I feel like you're right. It is a lot of self lack of self control, but you have to get more in detail. So you want to understand the background, I would say. Hmm. Agreed, Tanisha. Knowing the why is helpful in finding closure. Yep. And that's what I want y'all to take away from this. So if God forbid if that ever happens to you, be pissed, but have the conversation. Make sure that you're understanding what happened so that you're not walking away. Because what if you get in another relationship and the person does it again? You want to understand. Hopefully they don't, but I feel like, okay, cool. Good stuff, y'all. So it's hard. It depends on, it's a case by case thing. It depends on the person. It depends on your type of your relationship, their history, um, you know, but just remember in healthy relationships, please always work on communication, work on trusting each other, and working on understanding each other's boundaries, because those three things are what I see in couples therapy all the time. It leads to bad relationships, or sometimes someone cheating, but there's still no excuse for cheating, so I don't want anybody to walk away with that um, mentality. All right. Anything else on that topic before we hop to our second one? I think I'm gonna do these out of order. I think I'm gonna do these in relationship order. So on that note, if they're cheating, our next topic, topic number two. Do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? Oh, this is a good question. So what do y'all think about this one? Do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Or why not? Karen says, cheating, great topic. It is, Karen. I see it a lot. And that's why I feel like you have to, if it happens to you, don't think that it's just you or something you did. You want to understand the whole picture before you make your final decision, especially if you're married. Uh, I'm not saying be JoJo the fool and just stay there. And like Judy was saying, a habitual or serial cheater. I don't want you to sit there and stay in that marriage, because that's nonsense. There's a deeper problem. Um, like I said, I'll keep pulling this book out. They could have had some kind of sexual abuse or sexual trauma in their childhood, because usually people who have who usually go from one extreme to the other, either they're having sex all the time, cheating all around, or they don't have sex at all and you can barely touch them. They've usually had some kind of sexual trauma. And so this book is a good reference if you want to read more about sexual abuse and how it gives a lot of scenarios on how people react after they've had uh, sexual experiences. I'll read one real quick. Let me see if I can find one, a short one. Well, I'll do that on another show because it might take us off. So we're on number three. I jumped out of order. Do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? What are your thoughts on the financial aspects of a relationship? Do you think um, married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? Good stuff on that other topic, though. I hope y'all take away something from it. Not trying to change your views, just it it is a case by case situation. But do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? And Judy made a good point. She says it's harder to deal with cheating when kids are involved. Yes, it is. Even if it's a marriage, though, because if you break up, um, that divorce and the proceedings of a divorce and um, it's just a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so we're if you're just joining, we're on topic number three. Do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? And so Judy says joint bank accounts. It depends on how disciplined both individuals are. Um, I agree. This is and why do you say that, Judy? I'll let you elaborate on that one. And I get it. Tanisha says I think they should have joint accounts and separate accounts. And so how would you break that out, Tanisha? How would that look? And Judy, what do you mean by discipline? Like, what do you mean? And so Karina says, personal preference on the bank accounts. I prefer to have individual account and joint. And even if I choose to do individual, we still need to communicate on where the money is going is and what it's used for. Got it. So you said personal preference on the bank accounts. I prefer to have individual accounts and joint accounts. So you want an individual account and a joint account. And even if I choose an individual, we need to communicate on where the money is going and what is it going to be used for. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. That makes sense, Karina. So Karina, are you saying that you want a joint and a separate individual? Is that what you're saying? And Judy's saying laugh a lot because you don't want to share an account with someone who has a spending a spending problem. Yep, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to assume that. So yeah, that's a good point, Judy, because if you have like most men, we're not we would just spend. We don't, I'm better at it as I get older. I'm better at saying, "Oh, you need to save this." I think women are more they save more. They're more some. I don't want to generalize, but what I've seen, and so you do have to make sure your partner is financially responsible. That they're not just you have a joint account, and I think this is what you're saying, Judy. And they next thing you know, you put your paycheck in there, and your husband puts his paycheck in there, and then you go the next Friday, and there's no money in there but $5. Then there's a problem, and you you want to so you how do you address that when you're dating someone? How do you address that once you get married? That's why it's good to do premarital counseling, because that's one thing that they do in premarital counseling is discuss finances and discuss how that's going to look, how a budget is going to look when you two merge your accounts if you choose to do that. So just a tidbit, if you're single, it's good to have premarital counseling. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Communication is key. Tanisha says communication is key. If you're building something together, the joint account is the way to go for two responsible people. And the key word in there is responsible. The operative word in there is responsible. It's kind of what Judy was saying. Tanisha is as long as you got two people that are financially responsible, and that you're not gonna put your paycheck in there Monday and then by Friday it's gone and their paycheck is gone. And so now you don't have any money to pay the bills or the mortgage. But we laugh, but there's people out there who are going through this stuff right now that are struggling, which is why I bring up some of these questions to kind of help. So if you find yourself in this type of situation, it is time to sit down with your mate and have a budget talk. Like, we need a joint account, but then we need two separate individual accounts. Whatever way you want to work that out, that's a boundary. That's another boundary that you have to establish in a relationship. Like, how do we want finances to look? Do you want your individual account and you want your individual account, and then we pay bills out of the joint account? Is that the way we want things to function and flow? Those are the type of things that you have to sit down and discuss before you get married. And most people don't. They just let things go, naturally go, and then finally they go to their account and things are missing. Tiara says, I'm single, but I think joint bank accounts should be used for bills. And I just said that. Good, smart thinking, Tiara. And you should have separate for leisure. I don't want anybody clocking my Starbucks trips. good, good point, though. And I think that's a good idea. If, you know, bills paid out of the joint account, and then you have your single account so that, like Tiara says, you can do leisurely stuff with it. You can go shopping, go to Starbucks, do your own thing, and your husband or your wife is not clocking your pay. And that joint account is just for bills, strictly for bills. I think that's good. But you got to think some people don't agree with that. Some people want joint accounts. Tanisha says, but also keep a percentage of that money for yourself too, individually. Okay, Tanisha. So you're kind of saying what Tiara and I was saying is that to keep them kind of separate for your leisure stuff, and then for your bills and all of that stuff, having a joint account. I think that's a good way. Always pay, Tanisha says, always pay yourself, married or not. I'm a firm believer in that. Yes, you do. I call it self care. You have to take care of yourself. That is something that you need to do every week. I preach this to my clients every time we are in session. My first question is, have you practiced self care this week? That means, have you did something that is good for yourself? It made you feel good. No matter what anybody else did you take care of yourself? Whether that's writing music, singing music, taking a bubble bath, going to get a manicure, a pedicure, going to a spa, whatever that looks like. Self care, self care, self care, self care. Um, Judy says yes. You want to keep your own stash too. So y'all are in agreement with that. Yes, pay yourself first. So what about the church? Does this church say you're just supposed to give all the stuff to the men and let them run everything? So all of y'all agree that separate accounts for leisure stuff, joint account for bills and things that are important to support the family. And I agree too. I think that's a good plan. And these are the things that need to be talked about. I think premarital counseling, or even now if you're married and finances aren't looking good, let's sit down with your mate and devise a plan of how we want this to work. But then you have to think of an account too, a savings account, because you want to save if you have kids, you want to save for their college. You always want to save for a rainy day. You want to make sure that you're not having to live paycheck to paycheck. And let me get off the soapbox because it sounds like a financial presentation. Okay, y'all. So we're at 45 minutes almost. Let's do our last topic. We can jump back and forth. Our last topic for tonight. Judy says definitely ask to see a credit score before you get married. Oh, good, good. That is a good question. So, on that note, Judy, would you marry somebody that had a bad credit score? Would you marry somebody like, okay, so you sit down, you're doing premarital counseling, and y'all say, okay, at the next session, we're going to show each other our credit scores. Would that change your decision on whether you're going to marry that person or not? Tiara says, speaking of stashes, I know plenty of women with rainy day stashes that their husband doesn't know about. that's a that's a good thing sometimes. I'm telling you, not bashing men, but we just spend sometimes we just I have to stop myself sometimes driving home buying something and I already have it in the house. I do it all the time. It's just silly. Great tip, Judy, about the credit score. And I, oops, laugh out loud. I heard. So, would y'all marry somebody with a bad credit score? It can always improve. Y'all can work on it together. But would that be a something that you say no, I'm not going to do because they got a bad credit? They got bad credit. Would that be? It's a good question, something to think about because it may happen. Judy says I would need him to explain why his score is low and what his plan is to improve it. Okay. And I guarantee couples aren't doing any of this stuff that we're talking about. They're just based on emotions, falling in love, going to get married, and then in a year or two, this stuff right here that we're talking about blows up in their faces. That's what happens. Uh, Karina says we could work on the credit score. Okay, I agree. And Judy says she would just need him to explain and then how he plans to improve it. And Karen says, bad credit score. Hello. So would you, Karen, would you marry somebody with a bad credit score? Tiara says, Tiara gave y'all some advice. She said you should know that credit score while you're dating. If it's worth it, then you can still work on it. So get that information. I'm always telling y'all to collect data in your relationships so that you can make better decisions on what the next step should be. So I always say when you're dating someone, you should always be collecting data. How did they communicate in their family? How did they get along with mother, father? How did they solve problems in their family? Did they sweep them under the rug, or did they talk about it? You want to know that kind of stuff because that the way they handled it as a child, they're going to bring that into the relationship, and so you need to know that. This is all the stuff we talk about in premarital counseling and couples counseling, all of that type of stuff. But good stuff, y'all. So most of y'all agree that when you're married, you should probably have separate accounts and then one for joint accounts. If you're just joining, I saw the numbers just pop up. So we are on our second topic of the night. The first topic was how many times would you allow your partner to cheat if you were in a relationship or married? And most people said one and they're done. Some people said they would have a conversation before they made that final decision. Um, and then we skipped around tonight, and then we jumped on this topic that's on the screen. Do you think married couples should have joint bank accounts? Why or why not? And most people are saying separate accounts for leisure stuff, and then a joint account for um, bills and things like that. So let's get to the last topic because we're coming up on an hour. So our last topic before we leave tonight is what negative things or behaviors do we learn from social media? I can't wait to see the responses on this. What negative things or behaviors do we learn from social media? And I kind of just did a TikTok video on something similar to this. But what kind of negative things or behaviors do we learn from social media? Yeah. Being superficial. Yes. Yes, trying to put on those airs, trying to impress people when you really are struggling behind the scenes. Um, that's a bad habit, right? And I agree, Judy. Do you see that a lot, Judy? But being superficial, they do it a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. That's why I try to be careful what I put. I don't want anybody to think I'm bragging about anything because I don't have anything. I think I just fitness y'all to death and music y'all to death and TikTok y'all to death. Oh, what? Okay. So depressed friend never wants to talk for months. They reply sometimes. What? Wait a minute. They reply sometimes, but sometimes I really want to talk to them and they always refuse, although sometimes they are online replying other friends. Oh, so this Matias Almeida de Arajo, hopefully I didn't mess up your name, but saying depressed friends when they want to talk to somebody and they try to call them, I'm assuming you're saying, and you try to text them or whatever, but they don't talk to you, but then you see them online doing all that. Yep, that's a bad habit. But you may want to move on if they're not talking to you and they're not there for you, sir. You may want to just move it on. Tanisha says talking in all caps, like you're shouting. Yes. So we know that when you, for people who don't know, when you text, if you put in all caps, that means you're yelling. You're yelling really loud. You're yelling. But that is a bad habit. But Tanisha, you know what? A lot of people probably don't know that. Um, and I teach a course, a first year college course, and we go over netiquette. It's like online, um, being polite online. It's called netiquette, and just how to not do things like that. But thank you for bringing that up. And you said, should you end the friendship if you're in need and they're not responding to you? I would, because what I'm not going to do is chase after someone. Um, especially unless you had some altercation or you've done something to them and not have expressed that, and or you don't know that they know that you've done something to them. It's a whole lot to that. I don't want you to end a friendship just based on that. I think you should have a conversation. If they're not responding to you, just send an email, and that's what I would do. If they're not responding, you send a text, express how you feel about the situation, and then let them reply to you. But that's being upfront. Confront them. That's all I can tell you. Tierra says we learn comparisons. Yes, Tierra, and I see that a lot in therapy sessions. And what happens is you're comparing yourself to someone else, and all they're showing, like Judy said, the superficial part, all they're showing you is the best that they have on social media, and then you're trying to compete with them and they're in the background struggling like I don't know what. But comparison always makes you feel bad about yourself. When you start comparing yourself to others, they have this, they have that, they have this, but what you don't know is what did they do to get it, and how long did it take them to get it, and how hard was it. And they may have that, but are they eating at night because they not have food to put on the table, or it could just be so much behind the scenes. And that's why social media, sometimes you do have to catch yourself and say, oh, why am I feeling this, and let me back off because this is not authentic, it's not real. Karen says ghosting, being superficial, comparing yourself to others. Just a synopsis of everybody's, Karen. Yeah, ghosting, just disappearing. I'm guilty of that. Like, I have to be honest, but I do it because they're behind the scenes, because I give people a certain amount of time and chances and that stuff. And when I see your behavior is not going to improve, and I've had the conversation with you, I'm going to back out. Being superficial. Yep, Judy said that. Comparing yourself to others. Tiara said that. That's a big thing though. That comparing yourself to others can lead you to being depressed. It can lead you to be anxious. It can lead you to be jealous. You're jealous over something you saw on social media and you don't have all the facts. You don't know, like I said earlier, you don't know how that person got there, how they received that thing. Um, did they have to go through hell to get that thing that they have? Who knows? So yeah, Judy said, I didn't until my sister pointed it out. She cut down on social media because of it. Yeah. And I think I've either wrote an article or something about this, is that people always put on their best foot forward. And I guess we can't expect people to just put garbage out there and sad stuff and but a lot of people do make up stuff because they need, we call it in therapy, validation. They need someone to validate them, to tell them, yes, you're doing good. Yes, you're okay. Yes, that is beautiful. Yes, that works. And so a lot of people are seeking validation. Karina says addictive behaviors for sure. Yes, scrolling for hours upon hours. Yes, Karina, and that is a time waster, a career. You sabotaging your career. You're sabotaging your dreams, your goals. If you are just wasting time scrolling through social media all day, you give yourself, like, I'll post stuff, but then I get off because I have work to do. I'm writing stuff. I'm working 5 jobs. No, yeah, basically 5 jobs. But yeah, it is. I agree. That is a bad habit, time wasting. You should give yourself a certain amount of time to be on social media and then get off. Because you can get lost and it just makes your life go faster if you've been sitting on there for 2 or 3 hours. This is good stuff, y'all. Thank you, Karen. Hopefully, yeah, because I don't. If you're going after a friend and they're not responding and they're not there for you, um, give yourself. I always tell my clients, give yourself a deadline to change because you are control. You are in control of everything that goes on in your life. So if something is negative going on in your life and it's been going on for 6 months, when are you going to put a deadline on when are you going to make the decision to stop that, allowing that? So if a friend is not responding to you, send them an email, you need closure or whatever, and move on. uh, Tanisha says, when you find out someone you considered a friend unfollows you suddenly, happened to me all the time. And I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? But you know what, I just move it on. It's okay. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna move on anyway. I just made up that last part. Um, Karen says validation. Yes, so many people have to have it. Validation is a big thing. A lot of people seek validation. They put these big elaborate posts to grab your attention, to get the spotlight, just so that you can say, so they can feel that they're okay and that they're all right. I see that a lot. I see that a lot. But validation, that's a big thing. And it's because they're not getting it in their personal lives or they didn't get it growing up as a child. Somewhere along the way, they didn't get that validation and they seek it from others. And that could be self destructive behavior if you let that get out of hand. Karen said, okay, Whitney, it's not right. Scrolling eats up a lot of time that you really don't have. Then you didn't get enough sleep and wonder why. Yeah, sometimes I have to turn my phone off at night because I don't scroll through social media, but I will watch videos of people doing their podcast or something like that. And before I know it, it's like, oh my God, I just need to be asleep. I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta get up at and you wasted your time. But I know when to cut that off because if I have I'm a person that has either list. I've written down a list of things I need to get done or projects that I need to get done, and so I know I can't allow that to hinder my progress. So y'all, we are coming up on an hour. So any more? These are good Good, good, good. Make sure you share this live. This is a lot of good information that can help people, you know, see the negative stuff that we get off of social media. And y'all don't realize that's social learning. You're learning this stuff, and sometimes you pick it up and you start doing it yourself. So you really have to be careful of the things you pick up. So I'm gonna end the show. We're in an hour, but it's great information. Thank y'all for joining. Next weekend is the holiday, so there won't be a show. But the following one, we will be back and in full force and have new topics. And Karen says, "Watch." I watch too much videos, podcasts, etc. on my phone. I'm working on paring down. Yes, paring down. Yes, yes, yes. Thank y'all. Great show. Thank y'all for your information. Again, share this video. It's good information on it. And have a good Friday night. And I will talk to y'all in 2 weeks. Bye.